Tatis, he's going to lead Sports Center. He's done it again. Another home run.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our episode of the JC3 Podcast, episode number 36. And took a few weeks off. We had some things come up in our schedule, but we're back for a playoff preview for the MLB. We'll just quickly recap, the craziness that could have been on the last weekend of the season with the Mariners and the Blue Jays in the hunt for kind of a tiebreaker situation. The Mariners ended up losing 2 of 3 to your Angels, which really was a crushing blow for them. And the Blue Jays ended up sweeping the Orioles, but they ended up needing some help from the Rays, who almost swept the Yankees. And then they needed the last place Nats to beat the Red Sox. And they blew a 5-1 lead late in that game, which is, as a Blue Jay fan, it was tough to see that happen, tough to see the season end like that. But we get a matchup in the wild card that is a matchup that a lot of people wanted to see.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I predicted Red Sox Yankees, almost didn't happen. But there was also some speculation that the Yankees had chosen to face the Red Sox if there was a tiebreaker scenario. So we would have gotten that game 163 between them.
What does that say about the Blue Jays, though? Would that mean like they didn't want to face the Jays, or like?
I mean, I think it just comes down to pitching. I mean,
Right.
the Blue Jays, they have Robbie Ray, who's most likely going to win the Cy Young.
Right.
Would you rather face Robbie Ray or Nate Eovaldi, who they're going to be facing?
Yeah.
So, and no knock on Nate Eovaldi. He was All-Star this year, but,
right.
They just banged up Eovaldi a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
Robbie Ray tossed a good game against them, had one bad inning against them 2 weeks ago. So, I think it just comes down to, would you rather face Robbie Ray or Nate Eovaldi? I'd rather face Nate Eovaldi this season.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then the Mariners almost snapped their, 20-year drought now? And made since 2001?
22 or 2021.
It's something crazy like that.
Yeah.
I was really pulling for them to make that wild, or not to make the wild card, maybe to make a tiebreaker, but they're gonna have an interesting offseason, right? I mean, they're gonna lose some guys. They have some money coming off the books that they're gonna be able to get a star in there. And the Blue Jays are in the same boat. They got Ray's a free agent, Simeon's a free agent. Those are two teams that just missed the playoffs by one game, but they're gonna have very interesting off seasons.
Yeah, like you said, Ray, Simeon, both hitting the market. First thing they have to do is re-sign them.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, re-signing them makes them the same team they were this year.
Right.
Re-signing them plus additions makes them better. Not re-signing them makes them worse.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to figure out, right? So, first, I mean, you're saying you rather have Simeon than Ray off the record?
Yeah. It's just based off both their comments and their post-game interviews, it kind of sounded like Simeon was more likely to come back. I mean, he said that, he really built a culture in Toronto and really helped the young guys, learn how to get in those routines and stuff like that. So just hearing him say that says that he wants to sign long-term in Toronto. Ray, on the other hand, he's kind of like, it's going to be an option. We'll see what happens. But I mean, if I can only pick one, I'm probably picking Simeon because he's the perfect fit. He's the perfect vet for all those young guys. So, I mean, the guy hit 45 home runs this year. He's a big part of our offense. I think that's priority number one. But let's hop over to the Mariners here. They missed by one game. A lot of young talent on that team. What do you think a team like the Mariners needs to add in the offseason to maybe get over that hump and make that wild card push?
Well, they're going to have to add another starting pitcher. They do have some decent young arms. Obviously, James Paxton didn't work out for them this year.
Yeah.
And then I think they're going to need a third baseman. Chris Bryant seems like a perfect fit there.
Yeah.
We'll see if the Giants let him go.
Mm-hmm.
But Seattle, I think they kind of played off of a crappy Texas team and an Angels team that was banged up. I mean, I think that's why they were there in the end. No, not trying to discredit the Seattle Mariners. They've had a great stretch over the past 6 weeks, but realistically, if teams improve and they have full health, I'm not sure they're where they were. Um, they didn't have a good run differential. They didn't score runs in bulk.
No.
They just scored runs at the right time. Hats off to them. They were able to win games, and they had one of the best bullpens in the league this year.
Yeah.
So I think they're a little bit further than what people think. And I'd be surprised if they won 90 games with the current roster they have. If they were to bring everybody back and a full bill of health from some of these teams, I'd be surprised if they won 90 games again.
Yeah, and the Blue Jays were complete opposite. I mean, they won 91 games, had a 180 run differential, and they missed the playoffs for one game. Let's hop over to on the wild card here, the biggest matchup, one of the biggest rivalries in baseball. This is gonna be the first ever wild card game at Fenway Park, which is crazy to think about how long the Fenway's been around, how long the Red Sox have been around, right?
I mean, wild card only started in 2013. You gotta remember that too.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they had an extra wild card. Who do you got winning this matchup?
I'm gonna go with the Red Sox. It's at home. I think the Yankees are the hotter team right now, but it's just one game, and Garrett Cole's got banged up at Fenway multiple times this year.
Yeah.
Eovaldi just got banged up a couple weeks ago, like I noted. I think the Yankees are the better team. I think the Yankees are the hotter team. I just think the Red Sox are going to pull one out of their ass tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, it's the matchup's Cole versus Eovaldi, like you mentioned. Ever since the sticky police came around, Cole has gotten just knocked around. The Blue Jays got him a couple times, like you mentioned. The Red Sox got him a couple times, but I'm also gonna go the Red Sox here. I like the Red Sox lineup more. They really rallied to come together in that and come back to clinch that playoff spot against the Nationals. They're down 5-1, and Devers really kind of put the team on his back to put him over the top there. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Red Sox here. I do agree with you. I think like the Yankees probably have the better roster, but I mean, at home, I think you got to go with the Red Sox. So we both have the Red Sox versus Tampa Bay. Who would you have in that DS?
I'm going to go with Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tampa gets past. I think they've beat up on them all year. And they're playing good ball right now. Yes, they lost yesterday to the Yankees. Couldn't score a run. Couldn't help your Jays out. But that might have been by design. I hate to say it. I don't think that I mean, a little speculation. I mean, obviously you don't want to let the Yankees get any type of momentum against you going into the playoffs, especially when you could be playing them. But I think, truthfully, if they had to choose between the Yankees and the Blue Jays, which one would they rather play?
I think they're playing the Yankees.
I think the Blue Jays have just been a really hot team of late. I think they have a bright future. But I also don't think that, we're on different. Obviously, you're a Blue Jays fan. I don't think they were World Series favorites even if they were to make it. I know there's a lot of hopping on, in the media world. They're hopping on the bandwagon saying this team could have won the World Series. I still just don't believe in that bullpen. And there's a lot of inexperience on that team as well. There's Springer who's been there, but other than that,
Yeah, I mean, as a Jays fan, you kind of get caught in the what ifs, right? I mean, what would have happened if we would have played a full year in Toronto? I mean, you saw it when they went to Toronto. They went 24-11 in the Rogers Center. So, I mean, Springer missed 80 games. They had a bad bullpen for a large chunk of that season. It really cost them. I mean, yeah, it's easy to look back and say, oh, well, I mean, if they would have won that game against the Twins, they would have made the playoffs. But, I mean, you really can't do that because, I mean, it's in the past. I mean, that's baseball. I mean, you're gonna lose games to the Orioles and the Twins and whatnot. So, I mean, it sucks that you win 90 games and miss the playoffs. But, I mean, it is what it is. let's hop over to. Oh yeah, sorry, I got to predict here. I'm gonna take Tampa Bay and Boston. I'm gonna take the Red Sox here. I don't know. Just Tampa Bay, they just play like such a weird style. Like it works though, you know what I mean? Like they don't need their pitchers to be dominant. I mean, Tampa Bay's got the better bullpen. I would probably take Boston's lineup. It was interesting that Chris Sale went 2 1/3 against Washington. I don't know if they were just preserving him. I mean, you kind of thought it was interesting. We were talking off the record there that, I mean, to close out that game yesterday, they used 3 starters. Do you think that was really odd of them to do that?
I mean, it was a must-win game. I think they'd been in a very bad situation if they would have lost that game because they would have had to play 163 plus the wild card.
Right.
And, I understand they're only throwing 1-2 innings, but at the same time, it's been a long season.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to take the Red Sox here. I just think that with their experience and stuff, I think they're going to get it done. Let's hop over to the other divisional series, the Astros versus the White Sox. I'm going to take the Astros here. We talked off the record, the White Sox are a little bit banged up. I like the White Sox starting pitching, but, Houston been there before. A lot of their core has been to a couple World Series. They've won a World Series. They know what it takes to win. I'm going to go with Houston here.
Yeah, I have Houston as well. I think they've just been hiding in the shadows all year.
Mm-hmm.
They played in the AL West where, Oakland took a step back. Seattle took a step forward, but, were they really ever afraid of Seattle? I don't think so. And like I noted before, Angels were never really in it after Trout was never coming back, and Rendon was hurt for the year. And then Texas, of course, is not a good baseball team right now. So I think Houston has been hiding in the shadows all year. Nobody's been talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays, and White Sox have gotten a lot more media coverage, a lot more eyes on them this whole season before the Astros do.
Do you think this is kind of the last dance for this Astros core? I mean, you got Correa, free agent. Altuve is obviously locked up. You got Brantley for a couple more seasons.
Verlander and Greinke are gone.
Right. So, do you think this could be it for this core?
I don't.
No?
McCullers pitched his ass off this year.
Mm-hmm.
He got extended earlier in the season for $18 million a year.
Right.
And I was like, 18 mil for McCullers. He's lived up to it. I think he's got this year he had like a 3.18 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
Pitched well and deep into ball games all year. So I think he's a staple at the front of the rotation. Like you said, Correa is leaving. I think Bregman moves over to shortstop. They add a third baseman. They keep the party moving. I mean, Carlos Correa is a good shortstop, but is he really the game changer there?
I think no, I don't. I think he's replaceable.
They lost Springer and they still won 95 plus. I don't know their final record, but
yeah,
over 90 wins.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. Okay. So we both got the Astros moving on to the CS. So Tampa Bay versus Houston. Who would you have win in that series?
Houston.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Houston going to the World Series, huh?
I think Houston's going to the World Series.
You know what?
I think they have an easier road. I think they have the easiest road. The White Sox are banged up. I believe in the White Sox pitching, but
I think Houston could go to the World Series too. I have them beating Boston in the CS. I think it could go the distance, could go 7 games. But it's isn't it just amazing how a team can lose a guy like George Springer and still be able to go to the World Series? That just amazes me how they can do that.
And remember, they had the worst bullpen in the league going into the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, they made additions. They got Yami Garcia. They got Kendall Graveman from Seattle at the time where they were in it. They made additions to the pen, and I think it's good enough to get them through. I mean, they're going to pitch their starters in the back end, and Framber Valdez will be around, and Luis Garcia is one of the best rookies this year.
Yep.
Greinke might pitch out of the pen. I think that they have a good shot.
Okay, let's
But
hop
they
over
can't
to
get they can't get in a deep series though.
right. Yeah,
The deeper they go in a series, the
it's
less
gonna hurt
likely
them.
I think they're going to the World Series.
Right.
But if they take care of business early, get a 2-0 lead, I
Mhm.
think they do go.
Let's go over to the NL here. Dodgers, Cardinals. I'm gonna make a bold prediction here. I think the Cardinals are gonna beat the Dodgers. I know Max Scherzer's pitching, but I mean this is what a wild. This is why it's called the wild card. It's one game. I mean,
Yeah.
all the Cardinals have to do is put together 9 innings of good baseball, and they could beat the 100+ win Dodgers. I feel bad for the Dodgers. They shouldn't have to play a 1-game playoff. I mean, it's tough, but it is what it is. I think it's gonna be Wainwright and Scherzer. Is that the matchup?
Wainwright, Scherzer, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, Wainwright's really turned back the clock this year. He pitched his ass off. Just signed a 1-year extension with the Cardinals too. So that was good. You obviously got the Dodgers in this. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think the Dodgers go, and we're gonna get that Giants-Dodgers playoff matchup that we've been waiting for years. It's never happened. That both teams have been around over 100 years.
Isn't that crazy, eh?
They're one of the biggest rivals in baseball, next to the Yankees and Red Sox, is the Giants and Dodgers. So, I think it'd be a crazy matchup. I think we're gonna get it this year.
And that was a race that came down to the last day of the season too. We're gonna get into Max Muncy here in a second. Or do you want to talk about him right now?
Yeah, let's do it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Max Muncy gets hurt last day of the season. He broke his wrist, correct? If I'm right.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a massive loss. He's probably out for the rest of the season. Maybe if they get to the World Series, he might be able to play. I highly doubt it, but
Dave Roberts said CS at best.
What a horrible loss. Obviously that game had meaning. It was meaningful for both the Giants and the Dodgers. If the Dodgers would have won, the Giants would have lost. They would have had to play 163 to determine the division. So that's the difference between playing the wild card and getting the bye to the DS. But huge loss. Who do you have winning the Giants versus the Dodgers if they do play?
I have the Dodgers moving on.
Okay.
Yeah. Giants have played them well this year, but the Dodgers, they're World Series champs for a reason. They won the division like 10 years in a row for a reason. They're built to win. And they were one game worser than the Giants during the regular season. That doesn't really mean much in the playoffs.
Clayton Kershaw also on the IL forearm injury. Forgot to mention DJ LeMahieu also went on the IL for the New York Yankees. So that's another tough blow for them. We didn't talk about it on the pod because we haven't done a pod in a couple weeks, but the Giants also lost Brandon Belt, who had a really good season for them this year. So I'm going to take the Giants moving over the CS against the Cardinals. They just had such a Cinderella season. It's just been remarkable. Everybody wrote them off, and here they are, over 100 wins. They set a franchise record for wins in a single season, which is incredible. I have them going to the CS. Who do you have? The Brewers and the Braves.
I have the Brewers moving on. They've been one of the best teams since the All-Star game, and the Braves aren't very good. They've played better of late, but no Acuna. I don't like their chances to go to a World Series.
No,
I think they got in the playoffs because they play in a division that
is really bad.
They didn't meet expectations at all. So,
they win 87 games and they won their division.
Well, I'm saying the whole division was supposed to be one of the best in baseball, and it was the worst in baseball.
Yeah,
next to the AL Central. So,
notice that the San Diego Padres aren't in this playoff format. What a collapse by the Padres! 18 games at 1 point over 500. They finished the season 3 games below. Jace Tingler is going to get fired now. What's your thoughts on the Padres and what a colossal collapse that was?
You know what? Sometimes we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but they did have some injury issues. Darvish pitched through some injury issues all year. Snell wasn't the Snell that we had last year. Musgrove was great. No Dinelson Lamet, no Mike Clevenger. You know, I just think it comes down to the pitching was banged up, and the offense was good enough, but they just didn't play good enough throughout the back end of the season.
Yeah, no, I'm with
I mean,
you.
they were in this probably, let's say 4 weeks ago. I mean, the Cardinals just, what did they win?
17
in a row. So, you know, that kind of altered their path. And
right.
I think the Padres, towards the end, lost a little bit of fire.
Right.
Because it just felt like they were losing ground quick. And the last 2 weeks of the season, I think they just kind of, you know,
fell off the tracks.
Yeah, they just fell off the tracks, and that's why they ended up under 500.
So you got the Dodgers and the Brewers in the CS. Who do you got winning that?
I have the Dodgers going in the World Series.
All right. I you know what? I'm gonna take the Brewers. Brewers over the Giants in the CS. Brewers have been, you know, kind of that team that almost got over the hump against the Dodgers in 18, who lost to the Red Sox in the World Series. Christian Yelich is back healthy. I mean, their lineup is, they just got a bunch of guys that just get it done. I mean, their pitching staff is unbelievable. Corbin Burns with the lowest ERA in baseball this year. Probably would have won the Cy Young if not for an unbelievable season by Max Scherzer, right? I don't know. I just think the pitching staff, I mean, you put it up against anybody in NL, I think you would take your chances there, no?
Yeah, I mean, the Brewers.
Kershaw hurt.
I mean, other than the Dodgers, I think the Brewers are the favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the Dodgers will end up getting it. I mean, Julio Urias is 20-3 this year.
I couldn't believe that. I didn't even know that. I didn't really pay attention to the Dodgers that much this year, but I mean, it was pretty crazy when I saw that Urias had 20 wins. I mean,
yeah, and don't forget they have David Price in their back pocket if they need it. So even if they need a guy to start a game, it's the playoffs. David Price will step in. Tony Gonsolin's still there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so Buehler's still attacking, pushing away in there.
I'm going to take the Brewers to win the World Series over the Houston Astros. I think that this might be the year that the Brewers get it done. Who do you got?
My gut tells me the Astros. My mind tells me the Dodgers. So I'm going
to go with?
Go against my gut and go with the Dodgers.
The Dodgers as back-to-back champs, huh?
Yeah.
Any bold predictions here for the playoffs? You think anything crazy is going to happen?
Albert Pujols is going to hit a go-ahead homer in Houston again in the World Series.
Oh, like he did with the Cardinals?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to try our best to get a pod out once a week and keep you guys updated on what's going on in the postseason. Yeah, I mean, the teams that are in it, I think it's going to be another great postseason. Hopefully we have some fun matchups. Anybody but the New York Yankees for me. But yeah, I hope a team like the Brewers can get over the hump and have a good postseason. But we're gonna keep it a little short. Dylan's got to head to work here soon, so if you guys can just subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, we'd really appreciate that. And thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, take care, guys.